Hello to everybody, this training course is called Pollution and Health. The course is composed by 3 different modules who treated the following topics. The Module 1, developed by Dr. Emilio Benfinati, is entitled The Hospital Wastes, Their Impact and Management. Lesson 1.1 The Impact of Hospital Waste and Pharmaceuticals in the Environment. Lesson 1.2 The Impact of Hospital Waste and Pharmaceuticals in the Environment. Italian Example Strategies. The Module 2, developed by Professor Stefano Capolongo, is entitled Next Generation Hospital. Lesson 2.1 Hospital of the Future and Territorial Healthcare Network. Lesson 2.2 Key Messages from the Technical Brief, Hospitals of the Future. Lesson 2.3 Future Challenges for the European Region, Hospitals of the Future. Module 3, developed by Dr. Andrea Rebecchi, is entitled Urban Health, Salutogenic Cities and Therapeutic Landscape Design. Module 3.1 Salutogenic Cities and Therapeutic Landscape Design. Module 3.2 Design Strategies from Literature. Module 1, The Hospital Wastes, Their Impact and Management is developed by Emilio Benfinati. Hello, we are going to speak about hospital wastes, their impact and management. I'm Emilio Benfinati, I'm the head of the Department of Environmental Health Sciences of the Institute for Pharmacological Research Mario Negri, Milan, Italy. As I mentioned before, it is composed by N2 lessons. Lesson 1.1 The Impact of Hospital Waste and Pharmaceuticals in the Environment. Lesson 1.2 The Impact of Hospital Waste and Pharmaceuticals in the Environment. Italian Examples Strategies. Lesson 1.1 The Impact of Hospital Waste and Pharmaceuticals in the Environment. Now we speak about the impact of the hospital wastes, in particular pharmaceuticals and their impact. There are a lot of contaminants here. Now we are speaking about what they are called contaminants of emerging concern, and then cosmetic, pesticides, estrogen, and pharmaceuticals, indeed. The drugs, in the environment, do have several sources, such as the production, the sewage from the cities of the hospitals, indeed. Expired medication and the veterinary use. Particularly regarding the production, the plants they are producing, pharmaceutical of course, but they also will generate waste. They will be liquid waste, solid waste and something which is released into the atmosphere. The case of the leaked waste we're speaking about because they do have wastewater treatment plants. They also have emissions and they are generating waste, which in most cases are incinerated, or in some cases also sent to the landfill. And so, as a consequence, we can imagine that we will have contamination of surface water, groundwater, air, and soil. The case of civil sewage from the city, this generates 2 kinds of impact because they will have out of the wastewater type. We will have a liquid effort, and a large solid material. The case of the hospital, speaking about somehow also different kinds of pharmaceutical compounds, because in the hospital there are cases of pharmaceuticals which are used only in the hospital, may be more toxic. And there are also some solid wastes, in principle, they are destroyed in the hospital, indeed. Case of the saccharine wastewater treatment plant. Moreover, let's imagine it. Every human person, sooner or later, we will have treatment, certain pharmaceuticals, the hospitals, and home. And so there will be part of a pharmaceutical compound or related the gas tissue products will be released through the urine, for instance. And they would reach the sewage, and they will reach the wastewater treatment plant. And in Europe, we have 26,000 wastewater and treatment plants, you see this in this figure, and this affects all the rivers that we have. In Europe, there are different kinds of wastewater treatment methods applying different technologies. So, they use biodegradation, photodegradation, hydrolysis, sedimentation, and the way to remove the drugs acid. In the case of expired medication, they should be collected and incinerated. Part of this expired medication may escape, actually. And veterinary use, this is an important source of pollution for pharmaceutical compounds in the environment. And the resources, most specifically, are the sewage, the manual, and the food. But because of the animals, and the daily product and animal-related food may be contaminated by pharmaceutical compounds. We are using a lot of pharmaceutical compounds, too much, in Italy. In particular, let's consider the case of antibiotics. And it has been found out that Italy has the highest use of antibiotics in Europe. Now, antibiotics are fundamental drugs for pharmaceuticals. They're very effective, but, indeed, they heal most of the bacteria, but not 100%. And there will be some bacteria that will survive, and these bacteria will be more resistant. So, the next generation of the bacteria will be quite resistant to the older antibiotic. And so, that's why we're speaking about antibiotic resistance, which is a phenomenon also, with an environmental aspect. And it has a health issue. There are deaths associated with this, and 1/3 of this kind of 30,000 deaths in Europe. So, about 10,000 added deaths occurred due to antibiotic resistance. So indeed, then, we're speaking about a large, too much use of production of pharma also as a prevention measure in human and animal for veterinary. And these kinds of substances also have an impact on the wastewater treatment plant. We've seen that there are, in some cases, microbiological steps, but antibiotics are killing the system which is active in the wastewater treatment plant to process the other pharmaceutical compounds, because antibiotics are very active again, indeed, a biological process. And, anyhow, the wastewater treatment plant, beyond the antibiotic, is not always efficient in the removal of the pharmaceutical compound. It depends on the pharmaceutical compound, but surely, it's not 100%. As a matter of fact, this has consequences for the environment. This is what we're speaking about. Let's see two examples: the decline of vultures and the impact on the fish species. So, particularly in Asia, in India, the diclofenac has a large use for veterinary pharmaceuticals for cows, and in the case of dead cows, it occurred that they were let into the environment. And so, vultures were eating these kinds of animals, and so, they observed a decline of the vultures in Asia, because vultures are very, very sensitive to the diclofenac. The lethal dose, which kills 50% of animals, is 0.1 mg per kilo. So, it's a very, very minor amount of diclofenac, sufficient to kill. And this is somehow associated with renal failure. There has been a ban of the use of diclofenac for veterinary use, and so the population is somehow restored. But recently there has been a debate about the use of diclofenac for veterinary use in Spain. Let's see the case of the contraceptive pills and fish. So, we've seen that there are wastewater treatment plants. They release the effluent in the river, and so, in the river, there are the fishes and endocrine disrupting chemically, because this kind of pharmaceutical composite, they're very, very active, not only for human beings, but also for fish, and they generate the feminization of fish. They are increased by biomarker. It has been observed with vitellogen in production, and so the population of fish downstream the worth. Water, it has been that there is a much larger percentage of female fish. So, it's not a matter of toxicity, it's a change of ratio between male and female. And so, overall, the population is no more effective in reproduction, because only, let's say, female fishes. So, we've seen that there are consequences, real consequences, the decline of species associated to the use of pharmaceuticals and how they reach the environment, the sensitivity of the different animals which are more sensitive. But also the size of the animals compared to the size of the human beings, and also it can be related to a different metabolism. Thank you for your attention.